Well, ladies and gentlemen, last night on CNN, something happened that the Democratic Party has been desperately trying to avoid for years. The script broke, the safety net vanished, and for a few brutal minutes on live television, reality punched straight through the spin. Jasmine Crockett didn't walk into a friendly interview. She walked into a trap of her own making, and Jake Tapper didn't save her. Now, instead of the usual nodding, deflecting, and moving on, Jake Tapper did the unthinkable. In fact, he read her own words back to her, slowly, clearly, on air, no edits, no excuses, and right there, in real time, the entire house of cards started wobbling. Because when you spend years weaponizing race, talking down to voters, and assuming that the media is always just going to carry your water for you, you forget what happens when someone actually says, no, explain that to me. And that's where this goes way beyond Jasmine Crockett. So this moment exposed something bigger, something much bigger. In fact, a Democratic Party bleeding voters, losing Latinos and Black voters, losing working class Americans, and panicking as their old playbook stops working, especially now that Donald J. Trump is back in the White House and the political ground has shifted. So what you saw on CNN, it wasn't confidence, it wasn't strength. This was denial colliding with facts. It was a race rhetoric collapsing under scrutiny. And this was a warning shot for what happens when voters and even the media stop playing along. So stick with me, because this isn't just a backfire. In fact, this whole thing detonated in Jasmine Crockett's face. Look down real quick. Make sure you're still subscribed. I keep getting messages from folks who think they're subscribed to the channel and they're finding out that they've been unsubscribed. So make sure you're still subscribed, guys. So what really made this moment feel different wasn't volume or theatrics, it was restraint. So Jake Tapper didn't interrupt, he didn't editorialize, he didn't try to soften a single syllable. He calmly read Jasmine Crockett's exact words right on back to her on live television, and then stopped talking. There was no rescue, no pivot, no we'll move on. That silence mattered. It really did, because viewers felt it instantly, because this is not how these interviews usually go. Normally, controversial comments get paraphrased, contextualized, or even brushed aside entirely. Well, this time, Jake Tapper, he treated Jasmine Crockett like an adult, responsible for what she said. And that alone, that really broke the expectations. I mean, you can pretty much feel the air leave the room. Not because Jake Tapper attacked her, but because he refused to protect her. Now, in that moment, CNN didn't blink. And when a media outlet that built its reputation on narrative control suddenly lets the facts sit untouched, audiences pick up on that. Audiences notice something cracked, not just for Crockett, but for the entire playbook. So Jasmine Crockett's instinctive response was denial, of course, right? This is not what I said. But that defense right there collapsed the second that it left her mouth, because the quote had just been read out loud, word for word, on national television. Now, in 2025, that is not a misunderstanding. That is credibility failure. Now, modern voters don't argue about transcripts anymore. They rewind, they screenshot, they clip, and when a politician denies their own words instead of owning up to them or explaining them, people stop listening to the explanation entirely. So the reaction isn't partisan. It was visceral. You can disagree with policy all day long. You don't excuse obvious evasion, though. Now, this wasn't about immigration or ideology in that moment. It was about trust. The audience watched a public official confronted with her own language, and she chose deflection over accountability. That choice right there, guys, that choice told voters everything they needed to know. When denial replaces clarity, credibility evaporates, and it does so fast. What detonated this moment wasn't just that the comment resurfaced, it's how it landed in 2025. Comparing segments of Latino voters who support tougher immigration policies to having a slave mentality crossed the line that many voters are no longer willing to tolerate. Not because they're unaware of history, but because they refuse to be reduced to a lecture. Now, minority voters today are more diverse in thought and income and priorities than ever before. I mean, we're business owners, we're tradesmen, parents, veterans. When a politician speaks about them instead of to them and frames disagreement as moral failure, that backlash is immediate. This wasn't a gaffe. This was condescension exposed. This is why the reaction felt sharp. People heard a worldview that assumes dissent equals ignorance. And in an era where voters are demanding respect and agency, that assumption doesn't persuade, it repels. Now, Jake Tapper pressing Crockett wasn't routine, it was a signal. For years, Democratic figures could rely on friendly framing, strategic pivots, and quick exits. But this time, none of that happened. Jake Tapper, he didn't carry water, he carried the quote. And that deviation, it matters because it reflects a broader shift inside the legacy media. Now, CNN is facing this trust problem right now. Anybody trust CNN today? Drop a trust down below. Drop a CNN is a liar if you don't trust CNN. Now, viewers on all sides are seeing narrative protection as manipulation. So with Donald J. Trump back in the White House, the audience mood has changed. The appetite for spin, it has collapsed. Media outlets that want relevance, they have to demonstrate independence, even when it's uncomfortable for them. And so this is why this whole exchange felt jarring. It suggested a recalibration, not a revolution, but a crack in the old alignment, so to speak. So when when the media stops insulating politicians from their own words, the ecosystem changes fast. All right, guys, real quick pause because this really matters more than politics. And I want to tell you about something that hit me hard when I heard it. So a guy hid a stack of medical bills from his wife. I know, not what I would recommend that he do, but he did. Okay, so not because he was reckless, not because he didn't care, but because his Medicare plan didn't cover the visits that he assumed that it would. Now, his wife didn't find out until a debt collector called the house. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, "It was the most ashamed I've ever felt." Now, that's not a policy failure. That is a trust failure. And this is exactly why Chapter exists, to prevent. Chapter doesn't sell you hype. They show you the truth about your Medicare coverage before confusion turns into secret debt, stress, and shame. They go line by line, doctor by doctor, test by test, so that there are no surprises later. And this is why most people don't overthink it anymore. They're already dialing the phone number at the bottom of your screen, 909-563-8279, or they're visiting the link down below, askchapter.org/Ron, just to make sure that they're protected. Oh, and I also want to thank you, Chris Perez. He left a comment on a previous video. He said, "Ron, Chapter saved me $5,900. Wow, Chris, I really appreciate you sharing that. Not just because of the money, but because that's some real relief. That is peace of mind, and it really helps other people realize that they're not alone and trying to figure this stuff out. All right, so let's get back to it, guys, because just like Medicare, politics has a truth problem too. And once the protection disappears, everything changes real fast. Now, if we zoom out from the CNN desk, and this moment really fits a much larger pattern that Democrats are struggling to contain. Latino voters and Black male voters in particular, especially working class men, we have been drifting toward Trump, not because of slogans, but because of lived experience. Cost of labor, border chaos, public safety, and economic dignity matter a whole lot more than some silly lectures, right? Well, comments from Jasmine Crockett, they don't just miss the mark, they accelerate the problem. So when disagreement is framed as ignorance or moral failure, voters feel disrespected. And once voters feel talked down to, they don't argue back, they just leave, they just bounce. That's what's happening right now. Trump's return to the White House has sharpened the contrast. His message is transactional: jobs, wages, stability, enforcement. That's it. Doesn't really require a whole lot more than that. So Democrats increasingly are sounding theoretical, moralizing, and dismissive of dissent. The CNN exchange didn't create the voter problem, but it did expose it. And exposure is the last thing that a fragile coalition needs. But in 2025, that tactic is worn thin. Let's just call it what it is. It's worn out. Voters already know the history. They don't just want to weaponize against them every time that they disagree. Slavery metaphors, collective guilt, moral absolutism, all of this now triggers fatigue instead of compliance. People hear it as deflection from real world problems that we're facing right now. Groceries, rent prices, jobs, the unemployment rate, safety, respect. So when politicians reach for the heaviest historical language to win modern arguments, it signals weakness, not strength. This is the emotional core of this moment. Jasmine Crockett's rhetoric didn't collapse just because people forgot the past. It collapsed because voters refuse to be frozen in it. They want agency, not accusation. And when race language becomes a hammer instead of a bridge, the backlash is inevitable. Now, Texas absolutely magnifies every mistake, and this is what makes this moment so costly for Jasmine Crockett. This isn't a deep blue coastal state where controversial rhetoric gets absorbed by partisan loyalty. Texas is rather diverse. It's fast growing and it's brutally pragmatic. So statewide races are won by coalitions, Latinos, Black voters, independents, suburban families, working class voters, not by activist applause lines. So border realities, they're not abstract to Texas. Immigration isn't a theory. It is a lived experience. Jobs, schools, hospitals, law enforcement. Voters see the impact every single day. So when Texas politicians appear dismissive or condescending toward voters who want enforcement, it doesn't stay on cable news. It follows them home. So this is why this CNN exchange doesn't fade. It becomes a reference point. In Texas, words stick. And in a statewide race, one moment of perceived disrespect can outweigh 1,000 policy papers. So this moment right here has to be understood in context. Donald J. Trump is president again. Now, that alone right there, this has already changed the power dynamic between politicians, media, and voters. The old assumption that legacy outlets could frame reality and audiences would just go ahead and follow, that no longer works. That no longer holds water. Trump's return brought policy consequences people feel. Enforcement, energy, wages, cost of living pressure, easing, all of that matters. And you can actually see and feel that. So whether people love or hate him, outcomes now compete with narratives. And when outcomes improve, messaging collapses faster under scrutiny. So CNN can sense the shift to is coming. It's actually happening. It's here. And so can the voters. Media outlets that want relevance in a Trump presidency, they have to show distance, not allegiance. So this is why Jake Tapper didn't cushion Jasmine Crockett. The media doesn't control the audience anymore. The audience controls the media. And that reversal right there, this is exactly why this exchange felt so different. Now, here's why that moment rattled people inside the party. Real-time fact-checking strips away messaging control. So when a politician is used to setting the frame, being confronted with their own words live, that creates panic. There's no reset. There's no staff cleanup. There's no overnight spin. The audience sees the decision-making process in real time. And this is what happened here. Jasmine Crockett wasn't debating policy. She was reacting to the evidence. And the contrast was stark. Messaging politics relies on ambiguity and moral framing. Reality-based scrutiny relies on receipts. Now, in 2025, voters overwhelmingly side with receipts. So this is the environment Democrats are now facing under a Trump presidency. Outcomes matter, facts matter, and when a politician isn't prepared for direct verification, the discomfort reads as unpreparedness. The panic isn't about being challenged. It's about being challenged without protection. That's the new risk zone, and it's only getting bigger. And now, the real quiet truth behind this moment is simple. Voters aren't leaving because they don't understand. They're leaving because they do. They do understand. They understand the tone. They understand respect. They understand when they're being talked down to instead of listened to. Crockett's rhetoric collided with a broader frustration that voters feel across the country. People want leaders who speak plainly, own their own words, and treat disagreement as normal, not as a moral defect. When voters see contempt, they disengage. Not loudly, not dramatically. They just stop showing up when you expect them to. That's the fracture that Democrats are dealing with right now. It's not ideological, it's relational. Respect, accountability, and clarity now outweighs the slogans. It's funny, Democrats could probably turn their whole ship around if they actually just watched my video and took notes on the things that I'm ripping them apart about. So again, respect, accountability, and clarity now outweigh slogans. The CNN exchange didn't cause the exodus, it explained it. And once voters see that explanation clearly, there's no going back. Now, this moment right here, this moment spread because it checked every emotional box at once. Conflict, denial, authority, reversal. A politician confronted, a media figure refusing to rescue, a power dynamic flipping in plain sight. You don't need context to understand it. You don't need to agree with anyone involved. You just had to watch. People who don't follow politics watch because it felt unscripted, because it felt real, because it broke the pattern audiences have grown numb to. So when someone powerful is forced to answer for their own words without a net, it holds attention. And it resonated because it confronted what many voters already feel. The rules are changing. The protection is thinning. And moments like this aren't accidents anymore. They're previews. Now, this wasn't a hit job. This was a warning, a glimpse of what happens when old tactics meet a new reality. Now, if Democrats continue talking at voters instead of with them, these moments will multiply on a bigger scale, on bigger stages with higher stakes. Now, under a Trump presidency, performance politics collapses faster. Outcomes are visible, facts are verifiable, and voters expect accountability, not deflection. The CNN exchange wasn't about one comment or one candidate. This was about a system that was realizing its shield is gone. The lesson is very simple. Own your own words, respect your audience, and adapt, or just keep watching these moments unfold live, because the era of automatic cover is over. Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.